Alright guys, it's currently 4 in the morning here, Eastern time. Need to get this video out, got work tomorrow, so I'm going to try to fly through this, hopefully about a good 10-minute or so video here. First we're going to start with a recap of what went down yesterday. So unfortunately Nikola Jokic, just even though he has a monster game, just doesn't end up getting that triple-double for us, ends up dropping 40, 7, and 8, so I mean, all in all, I still think it was a good read on that. Just unfortunately, he ends up having to do more scoring. Michael Porter Jr. and Westbrook end up not playing this game, which I feel definitely impacted everything for him as far as being able to get that triple-double. Yeah, he just had to take a lot more initiative scoring-wise as a result of that. So for that reason, that bet does not hit, unfortunately. Luka, over 34.5 points and assists. He ends up only seeing nowhere close to the amount of minutes I was feeling that he would end up with. He only ends up with 23 minutes. It was a lopsided game, literally from the first quarter. And with that reason, I don't even think Luka sees the court the whole fourth quarter. So that's a shame with that. I think he easily clears his line if given enough minutes, and definitely going to be seeing what this line is at his next game playing. For Hartenstein, man, it's like he struggles so much to get that 10 points, it seems. He shoots 3 for 6, clears the boards. I did say, if you weren't feeling confident about the double-double, take the boards. There was a bit of juice on this play. It was like plus 150, so you could have taken the boards to be a little bit safer. But regardless, I was looking for that extra value with the double-double that ends up losing. And then these were the ones that I was leaning towards, but didn't necessarily say to put any money on. I luckily did end up putting money on Christie as well as Chris Paul, so that worked out well for that. And then the Magic lose. And yeah, that was strange as well, because Franz Wagner had 20 points in the first half. It was a great start, and then they just could not close it out. So ultimately, we go 2-4 on the day. And yeah, really looking to bounce back today. I mean, today's game slate, there is only 4 games. We got, just going to quickly pull it up here. We got the Raptors and 76ers playing in Philly at 7 to kick the night off. The Knicks and Pacers, which should be all of these should be relatively competitive games. At least we have that going for us. Sorry guys, it's 4 in the morning here, so I was trying to buzz through this. The Pistons face the Bulls in Chicago, and finally the Grizzlies face the Suns in Phoenix. All great matchups. That should be close. So yeah, hoping that we can find some value here in these plays. So yeah, we're gonna get right into the first play that I had cooked up here. We're gonna be looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. and his points and rebounds line. So I'll just quickly pull him up here for you. Hold up a sec, my bad. I didn't have any of this stuff ready, but nonetheless. For Jaren Jackson Jr., once we pull up his points and rebounds here, you will see that it is a great hit rate for him. In the last 20, he has cleared this line what looks like 13 out of 20 times here. I thought this was a great matchup, 29th in points allowed to opposing centers, and 30th in rebounds allowed to opposing centers. I think this is a great matchup for Jaren Jackson Jr. He's been performing great as of late, like when you look at some of these most recent games. 37, 42, absolutely clearing this line. 20. And then yeah, when we look at some of the games, he doesn't do this. I mean, the Rockets, they have a tough interior presence, so it's a lot harder to grab those rebounds. He still gets 21. And he has been very consistent as far as bringing these 20-point games or above. The Grizzlies have been leaning on him a lot, averaging 32 minutes a game. I don't see why this Suns game isn't close. Like, so many blowouts recently, and mostly if this Suns game is close, it'll be so hard for them to contain Jaren Jackson Jr. And I think that the Suns are a team with a really big perimeter presence on offense. So I think that, they're willing to give up those two to Jaren Jackson Jr. instead of, letting Desmond Bane and John Morant do what they do and create space. So I think there'd be a lot more attention on them. Jaren Jackson Jr. would be able to get his 28 points and rebounds, and it doesn't even necessarily mean that the Grizzlies win. So I think, this is a great look. I mean, the Suns at plus money at home are definitely an interesting look, but I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard to trust the Suns ultimately. But here I'm definitely going to trust Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm sorry if there isn't as much, in-depth analysis for this stuff here today. But as well, he's cleared this in his last 3 appearances against Phoenix, twice in Phoenix. It's been a lot of road games for the Grizzlies against the Suns. And now it's another one. And they won the last 2. We're absolutely crushing this line in his last 3 games against them, 49, 38, and 46. All we need is 28 measly points and rebounds. I feel that this line is a little bit lower than it should be. And if you really did want to, you could play this up to 30 for that plus money. But minus 104 is practically already plus money as it sits. When we look at the matchup grade, this is an A-plus matchup for Jaren Jackson Jr. So, with all things considered, I feel that this should hit. And, it'd be a damn shame if it doesn't. So, for our next bet, it's actually in this exact same game. It's for Kevin Durant. And what I had here for Durant was him just to go over on his points. If we take a look at his last 20 games, he hasn't hit this a ton. Only 35% of his last 20 games has he gone over this, but every given chance, he's gonna sit when he has to. They don't want, KD's an injury-prone individual. They definitely don't want to be seeing him play all the time, but he's been on a lot of rest, and he's coming back into a great matchup. 30th in points allowed to opposing small forwards, and 23rd for rebounds, 26th for assists. Means a lot of action for Durant, a high usage rate this game. I would feel that the Suns will lean on him a lot more than Devin Booker in this matchup, as it is, I feel, a tough one for Book. And when we look at, Kevin Durant against the Grizzlies, he has performed decently well in his last 3 appearances against them. But yeah, Kevin Durant, 27 points. I mean, he's an absolute bucket getter. I mean, you also could take his points and rebounds if you thought that this is a good matchup, for those rebounds as well. But ultimately, I trust, him coming through, putting out those 27 points. And yeah, I think this would be a close game. I mean, the over-under, I think, is at, let me check here really quick what they have the over-under at, 'cause I believe that it was pretty high at the time. Yes, right now it's over 243.5. So they're expecting this to be a high-scoring game, and I expect this to be a close game, with the line set at that as well. I mean, the Grizzlies are favored to win by 4. Still, an interesting look for the Suns to win this as well. But nonetheless, we have KD at 27 points. Alright, making our way down the list here. We have Joel Embiid over 27.5 points. So if we take a look at Embiid's recent appearances, there's only so much to show because of his injuries. Embiid's always finding a way to not play ultimately, but when he does, he is tough to guard. He's tough to deal with. Raptors defense are 25th in points allowed in general, and to opposing centers, I mean, it says 18th, but ultimately I watch a lot of these games, and it feels like any given center can have their opportunity to be lights out against the Raptors. I mean, they just don't necessarily bring that interior presence to deal with someone commanding like Embiid. I think that if he wants to be assertive and, go right at the rim and, work the post, that it'll be really tough for the Raptors to contain him. And I think that this could be very simple enough for him to get 28 points against them. He's performed historically well against the Raptors. There is that history of, the things he's kind of been put through by this team. When we look at his kind of hit rate for this in the past couple seasons, is at 50%. You know, a lot of these other times where he's going below, it does end up being relatively close. He's a very consistent scorer, and I think that he's not looking to pass unless he has to, realistically. But yeah, in his past performances here, we see that he goes over this line a lot. And in times that he doesn't, I just try to consider, why is that? I mean, he shoots in this game against the Spurs. He has 9 points. He shoots 2 for 8. It looks like he only played 14 minutes that game. Maybe got hurt. It's hard to recall what happened on that given, December 23rd. But realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if he got injured or something like that in this game. Had something nagging. Against Celtics, which is a really tough matchup for Embiid, still gives 27 points on 8 for 15 shooting, so not even as much as his usage rate usually commands. But yeah, now if we take a look at his past 5 games, he's only seen 30 minutes, 36 minutes, so he has been getting those minutes when he plays. This is a Raptors team that is interesting. Like they can definitely manage to keep it close, and I think the spread's at 8.5 right now for the 76ers to win. But I definitely would not be surprised if this game was close. I mean, although the Raptors have been sent to the tank and all this stuff, they have not been tanking. I've been watching a lot of the games recently, and they're competitive to say the least. And they're not just looking to roll over and die. They also have this new trade acquisition in Brandon Ingram as well, so this is a sign that they're not necessarily looking to just roll over. And I really do like the spot for Embiid. Maxey has been doing a lot of the scoring recently, and I think that they need to look to build up Embiid, if they do have any hopes of a playoff journey this year. But regardless of that, we'll be getting straight into the next bet here, so I'm kind of pressed for time. We have the Knicks money line. So I think that this is a great spot for the Knicks. They're just coming off of getting absolutely dealt with by the Celtics. That was not a good look for them at all. This was tragic stuff. Them being up against the Celtics there. Wow, I've seen -1 on FanDuel, but it looks like this spread is really moving. It looks like the public is definitely on the Knicks, taking down the Pacers at home. Knicks 4th in points on the offense against a weak Pacers defense. The boards, Cat and them did not struggle to grab their boards against the Pacers. I don't think in this matchup. The assists are in the Knicks' favor. The 3-point shooting from the Pacers, that'll be very iffy at best. I think that if they can get it going from 3, that would be trouble for the Knicks. But ultimately, the Knicks are a sound defensive team, so I feel that it'll be tough for the Pacers to get these matchups going. Yeah, 9th in points, 1st in defensive rebounds, 7th in assists. So in my opinion, I feel the Knicks are just a level above the Pacers. And I think that the only reason why the spread is even this close is just because of the fact that they're in Indiana. I don't really know how much the Knicks really care about that. I think that if the Pacers were in New York, that the spread would be a lot more lopsided. And unless any sort of random injuries come out that I didn't see before, which it looks like everyone's healthy and is going to be playing, then I don't see why the Knicks can't get this done. Especially after the embarrassment against the Celtics at home, I feel that they're desperate to get back in the win column ultimately. So I feel this is a great spot for the Knicks here. And yeah, they have had a rough batch of games recently, no doubt, so this would be a great opportunity for them to bounce back here. And then finally, I did have kind of a miscellaneous bet that I just felt that there was value in. Here we have Zach Edey's double-double, facing a Phoenix defense that is 29th to opposing centers in points and 30th to opposing centers in rebounds. Edey's cleared this line in 4 of his last 10. For this to be at +600, I just feel that it's super mispriced for the value that Edey has been bringing recently. He still has hopes for a Rookie of the Year this year, so I really feel that he'll be looking to compete in this matchup, and I think that he will get an opportunity for a lot of minutes. You know, he has been starting for the Grizzlies as of late, so I don't see why he can't get this double-double. I think this is great value. It was only like a couple games ago. This was only plus 350, so I would take this all day long. Sprinkle whatever you can on it if you do also like the bet. But realistically, I do think that this is a great look for Edey. He has been getting a solid amount of minutes in these recent matchups. You know, OKC, that was the tough matchup. He's going to see less minutes in a game like that. But, you know, against the Suns where he can really excel, I think that he at least sees 20 minutes or more. And I really think that, you know, he can get this double-double here. And especially just with the odds are at it, it feels pretty hard not to take it ultimately. So, you know, with that being said, we have a quick little recap here. So, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. over 28.5. Points, rebounds. KD over 20. Hold up. KD over 27.5 points plus rebounds. Whatever, we're kind of rushing on this, but we want to make sure that this is at least here for tomorrow's recap. We have the Zach Edey plus 650. The KD, we have Embiid over 27.5 points. And finally, we have the Knicks ML. So these are our 5 bets we have for today. And I'm really hoping that tomorrow we come back to some profit for you guys here. And yeah, thank you guys a lot for tuning in.